Ms. Lee, the IGs are hired to identify fraud. They haven't identified fraud. The IGs have failed. But anyway.
You all have failed.
No,
you all continue to fail. We've done nothing. You've had the gavel, Mr. Comer. We barely do hearings on anything that actually affects change. You have power here, and yet you don't do anything. Yes, he actually initiated this, sir, but thank you so much for your opinion.
You have failed.
I yield it back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania for 5 minutes.
Thank the chair.
Let's talk about what just happened at the Minnesota fraud hearing, because what started as a routine oversight meeting turned into an all-out political brawl. If you missed it, here's exactly how things went sideways between Representative Summer Lee and Chairman James Comer. Right from the jump, Summer Lee set the tone. She said, "Look, everyone wants to stop fraud, waste, and abuse." But then she accused Republicans of using this hearing as a political stunt, not a serious investigation. Before I go deep into analyzing what happened, I would like you to watch the video of that hearing.
So many people on this committee have already articulated nobody here believes that rooting out fraud and waste and abuse is not a top priority of this committee, of our caucus, of their conference. It is. If you're on this committee, it is the top charge that we all undertake incredibly seriously. But I think, like so many things with the modern Republican Party, it's like you're skulking right around the edge of things, but too often, your bigotry, the Republican Party's own bigotry, is imprisoning them and keeping them from ever actually doing something that helps, not harms, the American people. And this is another one of those instances, right? When it's a person of color, if it's 2 or 3, it's a pattern, and the entire community must be indicted. But if it's 100 Republicans, it's just not bad. Neither here nor there, because it's important. That's why we have routinely held hearings where we actually go over with the Government Accountability Office their high-risk list. We take it seriously. But the tone of this hearing seems to be a hypocritical witch hunt. It's hard to take it as anything but that, rather than an actual oversight effort. Our federal government currently has the tools to catch and prevent waste, fraud, and abuse. It's how the alleged fraud in Minnesota was caught by the Biden administration in the first place. Mr. Blue, as a former federal prosecutor, you're familiar with some of the tools that we have, correct?
Yes.
Just briefly, could you please verify the following tools for me? Yes or no? Does the Government Accountability Office work to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse?
Yes.
Do inspectors generals work towards these goals?
Absolutely.
What about the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency?
Yes.
Are whistleblowers important to rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse?
Absolutely.
Has the Trump administration helped or hurt these tools?
Certainly hurt it by disbanding the Council for Inspectors General and then ultimately firing 19 IGs.
Thank you. That's right. Again and again, Trump has attacked the oversight mechanisms within the federal government. He illegally fired 17 inspectors general and other key personnel. He goes after whistleblowers and he tries to roll back their protections. He routinely ignores the rampant corruption within his own administration. Republicans have turned a blind eye to all of this. They have held no hearings on these actions. And this hearing today isn't even about fraud generally within the federal benefits system, which we would welcome. Republicans have cherry-picked a blue state and an immigrant population, vulnerable, to demonize. To be clear, Minnesota is not the only state with a fraud problem. To truly tackle waste, fraud, and abuse, we need to approach the issue with a scalpel, not a mallet. Discovering that people are committing fraud in the federal program does not mean we should smash the whole thing and end it. It means its oversight mechanisms need to be improved. That's why it's so disappointing to see that the Minnesota House Fraud Prevention Committee that our witness, the Honorable Kristen Robbins, chairs, has issued no reports on these uncovered schemes. It hasn't advanced any legislation to address the issue or even shared whistleblower reports with their Democratic colleagues. They've just held a bunch of hearings and generated headlines, something our committee is all too familiar with. This hearing is not an effort by Republicans to improve social service programs. It's an excuse to end them and to punish Democratic-led states. This has always been the plan. It's why Republicans' so-called big, beautiful bill is estimated to cut more than $1 trillion from Medicaid and CHIP benefits and cut SNAP for 40 million people, the very children or folks with disabilities who were mentioned in the opening statements. Trump is also already taking advantage of the situation in Minnesota. After a YouTuber harassed and posted unsubstantiated claims of fraud against child care centers, HHS froze child care funding to Minnesota, which would affect more than 23,000 children. Just yesterday, Trump also froze approximately $10 billion in funding for programs supporting child care, social services, grants, and cash assistance in not only Minnesota, but in other Democratic-led states of California, Colorado, New York, and Illinois. No matter what party we're elected to, we represent the people of our district, Democrat or Republican. We represent as the federal government all people of all states, irrespective of how they voted. That's the charge that I took, and I would like and hope that you all would do the same. When so many of these social service programs are being gutted and defunded, fraud becomes even more harmful, as that means even less money is going to people who need it. People need these programs. This situation should be an opportunity to take a deep look at the programs and improve their oversight abilities, not an excuse to cut them entirely. If we care about the most vulnerable, if we care about the most marginalized, this is an opportunity to do so, and I welcome us to actually do that one day. Thanks, I yield back.
Ms. Lee, the IGs are hired to identify fraud. They haven't identified fraud. The IGs have failed. But anyway.
You all have failed.
No,
you all continue to fail.
Have
We've
failed.
done nothing. You've had the gavel, Mr. Comer. We barely do hearings on anything that actually affects change.
Failed. You want to spend
have
more
power
money,
here,
more money,
and
more
yet
money.
you don't do anything. Yes, he actually initiated this, sir, but thank you so much for your opinion.
You have failed.
I yield it back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania for 5 minutes.
Thank the chair.
According to Lee, when fraud pops up in blue states or affects marginalized communities, Republicans rush to frame it as a systemic failure. But when it's their side in the spotlight, suddenly it's crickets. Or worse, a total cover-up. She didn't hold back. Lee called out the hypocrisy, saying Republicans are less interested in fixing programs than scoring political points. She pointed out that there are already powerful tools in place to catch fraud, like the Government Accountability Office and Inspectors General. Even a witness at the hearing agreed, the system works if you let it. But Lee wasn't done. She went straight at Donald Trump, accusing him of gutting oversight while in office, firing watchdogs, attacking whistleblowers, and basically leaving the door wide open for abuse. Lee hammered Republicans for ignoring scandals under Trump, but suddenly going scorched earth on Minnesota. Then the focus shifted, right to Minnesota's own Fraud Prevention Committee. Lee argued Republicans weren't fixing anything. Instead, she said, they ignored Democrats, dodged real solutions, and used the committee to chase headlines instead of real reform. Bottom line, she claimed, this wasn't about cleaning up fraud. It was about using fraud as an excuse to slash social safety nets. This is where things got serious. Lee warned that Republicans are using fraud claims to justify deep cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, CHIP, and child care, programs millions depend on. And she pointed to recent funding freezes in Minnesota and other blue states, saying these moves don't punish fraudsters. They punish families, kids, and people who need help most. And then, chaos. Chairman Comer and Republicans fired back, saying Lee and the Democrats were asleep at the wheel, failing to stop fraud, failing at oversight, just failing, period. Voices rose, tempers snapped, and what was supposed to be a fact-finding hearing exploded into a full-blown shouting match. Comer literally had to cut it off and move on. So, what does this really mean? This wasn't just about Minnesota, or fraud, or even social programs. It was about who controls the narrative, who gets blamed, and who gets to decide what oversight should look like. Democrats called for reforms, Republicans called for accountability. But instead of answers, we got another viral meltdown. Politics at its loudest, with real stakes for real people. If you want breakdowns like this with zero spin, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more.